I hope this works. I hope my frame rate is good. Oh boy. Let's see. Is it happening? Are we doing the thing? Is the thing being done? Live? Am I live? Really? I'm live? Okay. Hello everyone and welcome back. It is your host Michelle, aka Chat-Mort, and thank you once again for returning to my humble little channel. Did I say once again twice? Perhaps I did. Hi. So, another impromptu stream, as you can see. It is 11:45 p.m. Eastern Standard-ish time. My chair is farty. Again, I'm very apologetic for this. And my arm itches, as you might be able to see. And I just thought I would stream for a little bit, because I felt like being semi-productive. I am wearing the fuzziest little jacket thing of all time. Not relevant to anyone or anything, but it's really, really fuzzy and soft. And I got it on like a thrift site called ThredUp. And I feel like a fuzzy, magical little cotton ball baby. So I'm very pleased. I should probably link this somewhere so people know I'm doing it. What was that? Oh, I'm seeing strange things. Okay, that's a good start. That's definitely a great start. No, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on, here. Just a moment. Where's our go-to? Let's pick a hideous color. Hello. Okay, this is definitely a good start. Hello. And that's very good. Very good. Yes. This is definitely going to go well. Yeah, so give me just a moment here while I share this stream. I just decided to do this because I'm working on a couple videos at the moment, but none of them are ready to come out, and I am really, really pleased that I'm able to stream. If you guys have followed me somewhat before, you might know that I was really scared that when we moved to our current place of residence that I wouldn't be able to stream anymore because the internet service that we used to have does not come here. And that sucks because we are paying like a third more for a third less download speed and for like 75% less upload speed than what we had previously because we're not in the same town, and it's really unfortunate. Like, we're in a bigger city where we were in a much smaller place before, but we can't get the same internet here, so it sucks. Give me just a moment here. Pause myself. Bloop. No, that's not the right thing here. Share. Twitter. Okay. Tweet. And then, let's go back to YouTube. Share. Copy link. And this is a bad idea. But, let me go into my atrociously obnoxious friends here on Discord and paste. And already this was a horrible idea. So, right. I didn't get anything accomplished today. It is Saturday, so that is somewhat allowed, I know. But I just felt like doing something because I slept way in today. I feel like crap, so I slept in because I'm like sick. And then I got up late and we watched episode 9 of season 2 of Ozark. Yay! Hi Hatch, thank you. Thank you for your mandatory. What is that? Oh. Message. I appreciate that. Yeah, we watched season 2, episode 9 of Ozark. Because, oh my god, Ozark, I didn't think that this season would be as good as the first season, but people said it was. And it is. It's very good. Oh my god, it's really, really good. And then what did we do? Tech Support Husband was making me watch this anime, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. It's called, like, Classroom of... Oh my god, I can't remember what it's called. But Justin Briner voices the main character, which is just so funny, because, like, I've always wondered what he would sound like not voicing, like, a goofy, like, you know, really childlike shonen, like, overzealous protagonist. And now I know. Okay, let me see. Let me check on IMDb to see what this show is called that we're watching right now. Classroom something. Not Assassination Classroom. Classroom of the Elite. This is an anime that came out last year. I can't find much information on it. I don't know how to see on mobile. How many episodes? It doesn't say. Anyway, we're watching this anime called Classroom of the Elite. Okay, there's 12 episodes. It's very peculiar. We watched the first couple episodes because Tech Support Bendo watched a couple episodes the other day and then actually decided to rewatch it to try and get me into it. It's odd. Let me know if you can still hear me because there is definitely some mischief afoot. I don't see anyone, but I hear creatures squeezing themselves between my processor and the wall. So, if I become disconnected, it is pertinent information. So tell me if you can't hear me or something goes awry. Okay, thank you. So we watched a couple episodes of that, and it's very peculiar. It's definitely pretty slow paced for me. Like a lot of shows just don't hold my attention. So, the story doesn't pick up till like the end of episode 3, and then episode 4 kind of gets more interesting. So it's something like if somebody hadn't told me to watch this and that I might be interested in it, like I wouldn't have watched it. I wouldn't have even given it a shot. So I don't know what I'm doing. This is round. I drew round. Just round. Oops, not so round. I drew lump. I drew a lump. What am I drawing? I don't know yet. What else did we do today? I didn't accomplish much. I drank like a couple cups of coffee because my God, did I need it today. Just hung out with the kitties. And then we went grocery shopping. And we went to PetSmart. And then we went to GameStop. And crap, I left my GameStop stuff in the car. I should have brought it down to show you guys because I got a coffee cup, like a mug, and it's got the Dragon Balls on it. It's this black mug and it has all of the Dragon Balls on it. I think the ones with the black stars though, actually, I'm not sure. And it's just a black cup, but then when it gets hot, it like Shenron appears on it. Oh my God, it's so cool. Like it makes up for the Shenron water bottle I had that cracked because I dropped it. And I keep saying that I'm going to try and repair it with Flex Seal and see what happens, but I know that's not going to go well at all. Also, I don't have any Flex Seal. It could be a boobie, but I'm going to try really hard not to draw breasts this early on in a stream or even talk about them. So yeah, I got that, and then also at GameStop, I got these, like, goofy little slippers. Like, they're this thing now. I have another pair of them, but they're not here, or I would show you. These little slippers that are, like, they're just these cheapy, like, fabric sock things, but they have, like, fluff, super soft fluff on the inside, and then they have, like, little, like, suction cuppy grippies on the bottom where the sole of the slipper would be, and then they're elastic, like, around the ankle part. And they just make them of a variety of patterns of fabric. Just really cheapy, like, little house shoes. And I actually got a pair recently at Walmart just because I thought, why not? They were really cheap. That had the kittens from Aristocats on it. The Aristocats. And then today at GameStop, I got some with Rick and Morty on them because I am a sentient cliche. But yeah, we went grocery shopping and we went to PetSmart. And I got a couple, like, clearance cat treat things that are like the really expensive cat treats. I would never get them at normal price, but we'll have to see if the ladies like those. And what else? We got some more cat food there. Hi friends. Hi Michael and Michelle. Yeah, I talk to you guys and I talk about you guys so much to each other that when I try and type my name on my phone, it autocorrects to Michael. I'm like, good, thank you, okay. Just transition me without my consent phone. That's fine. Anyway, so this is not how I draw things. Now it looks even more like a boobie. I'm not drawing a boobie. You know what? We need to just scrap this and start over. Yeah, then I came home and I feel like crap, so then I just passed out again until like 9. And then I woke up and I'm like, uh-oh, I need to do something to trick myself into thinking I have worth as a sentient, bipedal mammal. So I decided to stream. And here I am. Oh, dear. This is my second Mike's Margarita. Do they have a high alcohol content? No. Does that stop them from making me a complete mess when I have one of them? Also, no. You've never heard me talk before. Dude, are you shitting me? Why don't you watch my videos? You're a bad friend. How dare you? No, I don't have a good voice. I have a deep German voice, but it's also the most nasally. Like, do you see my nostrils? They're like pinpricks. I can't breathe through this garbage. I don't even know why I have a nose. It's useless. So no, I have a bad voice, but thank you. All right. I'm drawing a person now. I'm drawing myself, I think. I am. You am what? I don't remember what I just said. That's pretty bad. I am a lightweight. So, that's something. No, I like it. Dude, stop. It's not good. It's weird. It's annoying. I had my tonsils taken out and that actually helped some. Like, I don't sound like 2 tubas that were like from the same litter of baby tubas had a baby and I'm the inbred tuba baby. Like, I sound a little bit better now than I used to. But it's still bad. It's so bad. Help. I don't know what to talk about. I'm a little too intoxicated to draw and talk at the same time. So, yeah, that's good, I'm sure. Help! My calf is cramping. That hurts. Okay, do you guys ever have like weird random cramps? Because my calves cramp up and like my toes cramp up. Like my toes, if I don't like keep my toes like pushed like with my toes flexed upward, freaking don't start on the feet things. Like my toes curl under and they cramp and I have to like manually push my foot against the floor to uncramp them. And it's like a thing my whole family has. It's weird. So sometimes I get random cramps and I don't like that. I highly doubt drinking anything other than water is helpful in that situation. But that's too bad because I love Mike's Margaritas. Your voice is deep and you don't enunciate. Oh. Well, you must learn to enunciate. I'm not very good at that either. Like if I think about it, I do a good job, but most of the time I just mumble to the point where like I'll play something back in my head I just said and I'm like, what the actual hell did I just say? I don't know. Your back hurts a bunch. Right now, or just normally. My back hurts a lot. Well, that's not really true. My back used to hurt all the time. But it doesn't as much anymore because I'm out of the living hell that is school. I was like really underweight all through basically my whole life until I got out of high school and I started getting fat. But I was so underweight that my spine was always horribly bruised from like our wooden desks at school. I was just too depressed to eat. I couldn't make myself eat. But even now, like 1 year for my birthday, because my dad was a horrible dad growing up, so he feels guilty, so he buys me things now. It's great. I highly recommend it. I just, for one Christmas or birthday or something, I just asked, I want like a top of the line, like computer office chair, and he got me this one. And it's very vocal, which is embarrassing when I'm trying to shoot videos, but it's really comfortable, so that helps with my back. My chair at work is awful, but I just, I try to have the best posture I can. Randomly pop up out of nowhere and super kick Mort. Thanks. I appreciate that. Where was I talking to you recently, Ryder? I don't know. What? His poetry, I'm deeply concerned. I'm intrigued but concerned. My back hurts sometimes now, but not usually. I'm trying to draw myself. It's not going well. But, like, the problem is like, the easiest way for me to sleep, the most comfortable way, is if I sleep, like, kind of a tripod. Like, I bend one leg, and then the other one I leave straight out. Good morning. And, that hurts my back horribly. Like, it throws my spine out of alignment. So I can either sleep the way that's super comfortable, so I sleep the whole way through the night, and then my back's almost thrown out the next morning when I get up. You didn't miss the stream, Nemo. It just started. Gracious. Or I can sleep in a way that makes it almost impossible for me to sleep, and I am consumed by anxiety and existential crises and self-loathing, and not have my back go out the next day because I didn't sleep the way that makes me fall asleep, like, instantaneously. Don't turn off YouTube, you fool. Looks like the teacher from Loud House. It's a cartoon. Actually, yeah, that looked really cute. I remember wanting to watch it, and then recently I watched some video. It was like a list of like good modern cartoons or something that someone did on YouTube, and they mentioned the Loud House as having been like a charming cartoon that was well written or something like that. And I was like, wait, it's over already? Like, time flies. I'm always like, I should watch this cartoon, or I should watch this, like, real, actual grown-up show, or go see a movie, and then it's, like, 2 years after the thing ended, and I'm like, oh, never mind. See, I don't know about that. I feel like a Barbie doll, whether spooky or just kind of innocuous in nature, I don't think that would make my back feel much better. Unless you had, like, handfuls of them and hit me really, really hard, I don't know if it would make a difference. Sometimes I wake up and it feels like someone punched me in the chest. I think you mentioned that one time. You said your ribs hurt. If I say anything that's, like, super inappropriate that was, like, you told me in confidence, Manly, because I'm drunk, oops, sorry. But, yeah, I think you told me one time that, like, your ribs hurt a lot. Mine used to, because I was so skinny that, like, they were trying to, like, burst out of my skin. Now I'm fat, so, like, I don't even know if I have ribs some days. It reminds me of Hey Arnold from back in the day. Okay, interesting. The creator of the Loud House was... I know I've heard... The guy who created the Loud House is somebody who did some other kids shows for, like, Cartoon Network or Disney or something, right? To my knowledge. I know that some of those people have been embroiled in quite a few controversies. It's kind of disturbing how so many people who end up in entertainment targeted at children or young adults tend to be like the child predators. But then it's weird. It seems like maybe that's just like really how all of Hollywood and LA are, you know? Maybe all of the creeps just kind of gravitate there. It's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where when I see all these actresses peddling all of this just misandrous bullcrap nonsense about all men being monsters and predators and like sexual deviants and perverts, okay, that makes my neck look huge. I'm gonna have to just improvise here to make myself look cuter than I really am in this form. It's so disgusting, but then when you see that they think that people like Harvey Weinstein are normal and they dignify their existence by like playing the game, you know, to get further in their careers by actually acknowledging him and, you know, choosing to sort of be victimized by these people, it's like, oh my God, maybe in Hollywood, like, the Me Too narrative is actually real. Like, Jesus Christ, maybe these women are actually... They think that that's how the real world is, because that's... all the freaks gravitate toward Hollywood, and that's their actual reality. They're your source of social advice, and they tell you to say these things. That's okay. Do they get smelly? Like, do you keep them in a chilled environment? Or how does that work? Do you regularly replace the meat? People who are driven to be creative are autistic. A lot of autists are sexual deviants. Well, I mean, that would make sense, you know, like when you don't have any way of understanding like what's socially acceptable and what isn't, you know, it makes sense that you would seem more like a sexual deviant. Like, a lot of us have really gross, weird kinks and things, you know, like many people find youth or traits that remind them of somebody much younger to be attractive, or everybody's into things that are like societally deemed to be sick and wrong. But if you're autistic, you're not going to understand that you just don't talk about those things, you know, all those unspoken social norms, you miss them. So that makes sense. Just like Tony the Tiger was driven off Twitter by furries. Yes. Oh my God. I remember that, Ryan. That's hilarious. I'm actually a high-functioning autistic with antisocial disconnect. Interesting. Look at the people who staff kids shows. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, when I was a little kid, everybody who's seen my channel before knows I'm freaking a little messed up. Like, I was very isolated as a kid. My mom worked all the time. My dad either worked all the time or we just didn't know where the hell he was for, you know, long periods. Shh. Don't tell my family I said that. I don't want to cause any waves. But, you know, I mean, my childhood was kind of crappy. I was an only child. My best friend from childhood, I'm still pretty good friends with her now, and I have some, you know, great friends now. But, you know, aside from that, I was very, very, very isolated. So, like, all I had was TV shows. You know, I watched like 6 hours of TV a day when I was little, just because there was nothing else to do. Even when I was like teeny tiny and I had my babysitter, like before I even went into preschool, I had this babysitter. She was like in her 70s at the time. And she would just fall asleep with QVC on or something equally asinine and old lady-esque. And I would just have to play all day and figure out what to do with myself. Because she would threaten to, like, leave if I didn't want to, like, watch Mary Poppins 600 times a day. Or if I was like, Nanny, play with me. Stop falling asleep in front of the TV and play with me. So it's like, even when I was little, I just was by myself all the time. And other than my pets, like, cartoons they were my world, you know, and that's part of why I got bullied so much in school, and that's part of why I am the way I am. Like, I love kid shows, you know, the shows that I watched as a kid, I didn't just casually watch them. Like, most of them I've written, like, novels worth of fan fiction about, and that's how I coped. Like, reality was, you know, unbearable for me as a child, so I created, like, pseudo relationships and, like, pseudo realities by just dwelling on that stuff hardcore. You know, like, I was obsessed with Pokemon. I was obsessed with Xiaolin Showdown. I was obsessed with Naruto. You know, when I was even younger than that, I was like obsessed with Zoids, whatever like iteration of Zoids was on Cartoon Network when I was wee little, stuff like that. So I get it. Like, there are many kid shows like from when I was growing up that I to this day love. Oh my God. Like, I love Xiaolin Showdown even to this day. I love Ed, Edd n Eddy. I just adore shows like that. You know, they'll always have a special place in my heart, and I still I still look at those characters. I have more respect for them almost than real people. And as a writer, like, I'm always going to kind of see things in that way. Like, you look at like Shakespeare's characters. Or you look at characters from, you know, a variety of different things, like the Star Wars original trilogy and stuff like that. Like, those characters are more real than real people in many ways. And by that, I mean, like, for years, you know, we dwell on all of these characters, and for generations, for centuries, you know, we look at some of these characters, like in middle school and high school, we analyze them. We analyze these characters from, like, Phantom of the Opera and various Shakespeare plays and old novels and John Grisham books and things like that. Like, for years and years, we analyze these characters. Like, they're talked about more in, like, academia and education than real people are. And so it's like, in some ways, these iconic characters, like, you know, the Skywalkers, people like that, they're larger than life. Like, they're more real. They're a bigger part of reality than real people. They're more well known. They're more iconic. They inspire more people and change more lives. So, like, I'm intoxicated, so I'm just rambling. I know I'm not alone, Manly. I love you, dude. I really appreciate your friendship. Get me a list of cartoons and anime to watch. You could if you wanted to. You love Jalen Showdown. Of course you did, because Jalen Showdown was so good. Zoids. I loved Zoids. Dude, like, when I was wee little, I was doomed to, like, anime from when I was tiny. Like, before I started kindergarten, every morning I would get up to watch Zoids and Hamtaro. Every morning when I was little. And then school started, and I was still just as obsessed with kids shows and anime, but just, I couldn't watch those two anymore. But where was I going with all these ramblings? I don't remember. Well, part of it was just for me to say that, like, I get it as far as kids shows go. I understand. I love things like that. Like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Teen Titans, Shaolin Showdown, like the Jackie Chan Adventures I loved when I was little, Ed, Edd n Eddy, Invader Zim. Actually, I didn't get into Invader Zim until high school, but, like, there were just a bunch of shows that I loved as a kid that still to me are, like, they're so close to my heart, and I love them so much. But then the older I get, like, there are shows that I loved when I was little, and because I loved them when I was growing up, I can go back and watch them. But, like, if I sat down and I happened to be just, like, channel surfing or something, and I watched something like Shaolin Showdown at this age, I genuinely don't know if I would be into it, because it's just, it's inevitable that you grow up and mature a little bit, and your tastes change as you get older, and it's harder for something to hold your attention. And I think about all those shows that I love, and I'm like, just based on, like, my own writing and my own struggles to, like, create my own fictional characters as somebody who wants to be a novelist, like, I think it would be really hard for me to, like, write a kid's book or a kid's show. Like, I'll reread books from when I was little, as I come across them, just, like, to oh my god, what's the word? I am intoxicated. What's the word? I can't think of the word when you're remembering something nostalgic, to something or other eyes. I don't know the word. I'll think of it later and I'll be very ashamed. But, like, I'll reread stuff from when I was little, or I'll come across something and rewatch it from when I was little. And I just, like, it would be really hard, I think, to write a kid's show or a kid's book. Like, I just don't know, unless I had my own kids, or I was, like, a teacher or a babysitter, and I talked to kids of the age that I would want to target with some kind of entertainment like that. Like, unless I talked to them all the time and understood their mindset, like, I don't know if I would be able to do it. Like, I don't know how to only include things that would be interesting or understandable for kids. I have no idea how you would do it. So it almost makes sense to me that people who are somewhat autistic are the ones who are actually able to like, write entertaining kids shows. Because when you grow up, it's so hard to relate to kids in like a genuine way, like an equal sort of. Yeah, I do look at those shows with rose-tinted glasses. Like, I love stuff like that. Like, I have, I actually think I have, like, the first season of Ben 10 on DVD. I have season 1 of Shaolin Showdown. I need seasons 2 and 3, of course. But, like, I have a bunch of kid shows on DVD, or, like, you can just watch them on YouTube or different places. Hi, kitties. And I still do. But if I were to try and get into a show that were aimed at that same, like, age demographic now, I have no idea if I could enjoy it or not. Maybe I would, but I don't know. Because then, like, I think about things like there's a show that's going to finally have its pilot premiere this coming year, I think. Hi, Num Nums. Hello, look at the people. Num Nums. Nemmy, look. Nams. Maybe Nemi will look, I don't know. Nemi, don't. She went under my monitor. I'm sorry. You almost got to see my kitty. But like, there is a really cute show. The pilot's coming out either the end of this year or next year. It's called Villainous. And the guy who created it, his name is Alan Ituriel. And it is about this like demonic eldritch entity who's supposed to be like the villain that supervillains go to get their weaponry and their expertise and their personnel. And it looks really cool. It's kind of dark and subversive like Billy and Mandy and like some shows used to be at that time. Honey, that's a speck of dirt. You're not gonna get it. You can't eat the speck of dirt off the wall, Nemi. Okay? Okay, that's okay. You just live your best life. You go for it. Whatever it takes. Like, that show looks really cute. And I don't know. I'm really not sure if because that show I think I will like when it comes out. And now she's falling off the desk. That's very good. Hi, Nemmer. Come here, Num Num. Let the people see you, baby. Nemmy, say hello. Yay. I just don't know if I would like those shows or not. Oh, she's bringing cobwebs. No. Let's put those somewhere else. I don't want that here. So, yeah. But yeah, you don't think you would ever outgrow Billy and Mandy? Oh my god, I still love Billy and Mandy. Like, I want Mandy to strangle me. That, again, that's not something that you say unless you've drunk a little bit too much alcohol. But I love Mandy. I mean, I love Billy and Mandy, the show. I didn't have a crush on Mandy when I was little. That would be weird. Hi, Nemmer. Where are you going, baby? I wouldn't want to write it for kids' TV. Either the show would be bland and pandery or be inoffensive mush that is designed to sell toys. Yeah. Yeah, the stuff I liked tended to be canceled right away, unfortunately. Yeah, and stuff like Billy and Mandy, like, I was so sheltered as a child. Oh no, there's more like canvas up here. Poop. I'll have to crop it later because I don't want to I don't want to connect those lines. Like Billy and Mandy, all of my friends were into it in like 3rd and 4th grade. Like, that's too young to be into Billy and Mandy, honestly. Like, I got into it when I was a little bit older, and it was just one of those things like I was always mature for my age, but I also, like, I didn't do the thing that most of the other kids did, where like it seemed like starting in 4th grade everybody was terrified of what like the people in older grades would think, and part of that was like the school's fault because the schools kept saying you need to be grown-ups, you know, you need to be mature, you're young men and women now. Like, when you're 8-9 years old, you're not a young man or a young woman. Like, yes, you need to learn responsibility, but, like, that's the only time in a child's life when they have to kind of enjoy themselves and not be just terrified and miserable all the time. Like, don't take that away from them by scaring them to death about the real world. I really didn't like that about my school, like, the approach they had to, like, trying to prepare kids for growing up and stuff like that. But, like, it was around that age that people just started, I remember it was in 4th grade, because that's when I started getting bullied. Kids were so scared, and part of it was because they knew they were going into middle school, and they didn't want to get picked on by the older kids and stuff like that, and part of it was, like, trying to impress your older siblings and stuff like that. Like, everybody just started pretending to act like grown-ups. Like, everybody pretended not to like the stuff they liked. Like, over the summer, there was just this unspoken, or maybe it was spoken and I just wasn't invited. Go to hell, Super Anti Spyware. Thank you. Goodbye. That was when it started. Everybody just was so scared of what older people would think of them. And maybe I know that would have helped me socially, I wouldn't have been bullied so much. But I didn't have older siblings. I didn't have, like, older cousins I was around. I didn't have babysitters who were anywhere near my age or anything like that to where I would have felt that pressure, you know, to be older. And I didn't have anybody to emulate who was cooler and older. And I just chose not to, like, pretend to act older than I was or more adult than I was. Like, I wasn't going to stop laughing at silly things. I wasn't going to stop watching the kids shows I liked just because I was supposed to. I made a conscious decision starting in 4th grade. I'm going to grow up at the speed at which I grow up. You know, I'm going to enjoy what I enjoy. I'm not going to pretend to be this like super serious, you know, somber, straight-laced, you know, very stern, judgmental adult. I'm not doing that crap. I'm going to just grow up at the age, or at the speed, I guess, that I grow up at. And, you know, I knew that was important, even though I didn't know why exactly. I just chose to be true to myself. And that's why I got bullied relentlessly. But, like, there were a lot of things that people were into when they were younger than me. Like Billy and Mandy, I didn't really watch it until I was in probably like 6th grade. But because I was older, I actually understood the sarcasm. I understood the humor. I understood the dialogue much more. And that was just one of those things. Like, I knew people were into stuff before I was, when they were younger than I was, but I wasn't going to force myself to try to enjoy things that I didn't yet, you know? And part of that was just because I was very isolated and sheltered, so I didn't enjoy things because I wasn't exposed to any, like, dark, sarcastic humor or anything until I was older. I don't know. What am I even talking about? I don't know. You hear... I'm chewing dead skin off of my thumb. You hear about the new puppet thing the Billy and Mandy guy is doing. Is that... No. Who's Maxwell Adams? What did he make? Maxwell House. No. The creator of... What did he make? Oh, he did... Yeah. Oh my god, Maxwell Adams is so cute. Look at that guy. See, he looks cool. He looks like Danny Antonucci. He looks like the kind of person who should be writing kids' shows. He's doing a new puppet thing. You kickstarted it like 4 years ago. Oh, that's grotesque. I'm sorry, Manly. I understand why you are the way you are. That's not nice. Your mom hated cartoons and violence and made you play sports video games. That's disgusting. Oh my god. I hate sports. To this day, I hate sports. I'm just I'm trying to get myself out of it, but I don't think I'll have anything other than, like, disdain and puzzlement for sports, which is pathetic and incredibly ignorant and small-minded of me. But I associate sports with that culture of, like, a disgusting little, almost, like, inbred small-town school where sports are everything and academics are, you know, mocked and belittled. And, like, the school I went to was... it was one of those schools where, like, we had no money. Like, hello again, Nemi. Like, our school, we had, like, textbooks from the 70s. And, like, in 7th grade, like, the ground floor of our school, there would be icicles on the inside of the windows. But you better believe we had all the newest football equipment. All of our money was poured into the coaching and the advertisement for football because we were disgusting, nasty little small town, ignorant, backward, like, oh my god, that happened. One of those schools, you know, where, like, sports were everything. Everybody cared about sports. All the dumb, nasty, cowardly, self-obsessed little meat-headed jocks who to this day, they're like, you know, washed up wife beaters who still, like, fantasize about their golden years as the football star at this pathetic, disgusting little school. Like, those were the people who were idolized and uplifted and everybody loved them, and it was disgusting. So it's still hard for me to tolerate sports at all. I'm not a resentful child, I promise. What are you drawing? I'm drawing myself, it would seem, but a cuter chibi version of myself. I'm going to use my nail clippers to get this, like, hangnail thing, because I don't like it and I'm distracted. And normally when I find these things, because it's not appropriate to be playing around and being an imbecile and picking your hangnails on stream, normally I wait till the end of the stream, even though it bothers me. But I'm intoxicated, so... there are no inhibitions. Wait, no, that's not quite right. There are no inhibitions here to keep me from cutting my hangnail. Number, come here. Let the people see your num-nums. Nemi, you're the real star of the show. Let everyone see you, little girl. Come here, Num Num. Nemi, kitty kitty, come here. Just a minute. No panic. No escape. Let me say hello. Hi, YouTube. Remember. Okay, little Randy, go free. Go play now. Nemi is not a fan of the YouTube. It would seem... Sorry I read your guys' stuff out loud. I need to do that to process it. I know that you guys can replay the chat now, and that's not necessary for viewers, but I just have to do that to process what's going on. That and while I'm drunk, accidentally like tearing a giant hole in my thumb because I shouldn't be picking at my hangnails while I am intoxicated. This is grade A entertainment, folks. And I wonder why I don't have more subscribers. I like sports, but people put way too much stock into it. They say video games are dumb and not real. Yes, exactly. You're about to say the exact yes. But people watch millionaires play with balls and act like they're accomplishing something. Exactly. People are like, why do you play video games when they're not real? Why do you watch a bunch of steroid, filled dumb entitled meatheads run around and throw a ball? You're also just sitting in your house accomplishing nothing. Like, at least people who are playing video games are improving their hand-eye coordination. They're interacting with people. They're having the mental exercise of like learning the jargon of a game and learning the social cues and mores of that specific game if it's a multiplayer game. Like, you're bettering yourself more playing a video game than you are watching a bunch of dumb meatheads pumped full of steroids yell at each other and roll around on the grass in tights. My mom was pretty flip-flop and arbitrary with morality, but one day she saw the comic Spawn and kept lecturing me, oh my god, not to read those satanic comics. That's so sad. And it's funny too because like for all of those efforts that were probably, very well-intentioned by our moms, did any of that stuff stop us from liking what we like at all? No, it didn't make any difference. People just tended to ignore me at school and I kept to myself, but I was so medicated it didn't matter. Really? Yeah, read it out loud. It helps us know who you're replying to. People say, we won. When the people in another town won the game. Exactly. Like, what in the hell does that even mean? Like, what is this completely contrived try-hard notion of, oh, I have camaraderie with all these people, this is my team. Like, when people like a team, for example, that's like your local team or your state team, for like basketball or hockey or something, like, you realize there's nothing more shallow and pointless for you to have chosen, like, for you to have used as the criteria for which team you support as opposed to, like, where they're from, right? The fact that you happen to be in the same location. Like, of all the things that would make you like a game or something, like, how much more shallow and arbitrary could your decision-making be for, like, who you like? Like, I understand it a little more if people are like, I like, the Boston freaking, armpit farts, or I like the friggin' Mexico City, sombrero hombres or something. Like, I get that more if people like another team from somewhere else because of one of their players or something, but it's all escapism. People want to feel like they're accomplishing something. I guess so. Well, and I get it too. Like, most people are in sports in school. If you like glorified and worshipped sports like the idiot jocks at my school did, that's gonna help you like regain that feeling of like, oh, this is so cool. I can take credit for the accomplishments of these men on TV, even though they're making, 1,200% more money in a day than I will in my life, and they're getting more puss than I get from my wife in like a decade, things like that. I understand that. That's very nasty and childish and petty. I'm sorry. I'm not normally like this, I promise. I don't know. I shouldn't dislike sports. I know there are far worse things that people could be into. And I know it takes a lot of discipline to be good at these things. I respect and admire that. It's just the stigma I myself have attached to it. It's hard for me to see past that, even though I know it's off base in many cases. I don't know. It just, I will never understand sports. It's just the worship and the just total crazed obsession with sports in our culture is very disturbing to me. I don't understand it at all. You like me right now, I'm funny. Well, that makes one person out of everybody in the universe who thinks I'm funny. Dude, I wish I was funny. Like, nothing is better than making people laugh. Like, when I make strangers laugh, like, when I make a cute girl laugh, that is the best feeling in the world, making a cute girl laugh. Like, it just makes you feel like you're invincible. Like, my goal whenever I'm in a scary situation, like if I'm at the hospital or something, if I can make like the nurse who's like, you know, doing my blood work or something laugh, if I can make the people around me laugh, I feel like I'm in control of the situation to an extent. And then I just feel so much better. I don't know what to do because my hair is hidden behind my microphone, so I can't draw it. Oh, it's tucked in my hood. Okay. I can try and do that. Sports were good in the 20s when they started, and the players were your friends at the factory versus the garbage men at baseball. And you sold tickets. Yes, I understand that. Any hole is a goal. Indeed. That's Trevor's line, you know. Trevor Phillips, the one and only. The husband of my dreams. Trevor said that. God, I love Trevor. I'm a well-adjusted adult. You can tell, like, more from the things I haven't said tonight than anything. Like, you get a lot of context as for how I ended up the way I am. Just from some of the things I mentioned and that I don't. This is difficult. It's less difficult when I'm a little bit intoxicated. This is so weird to me. Do you guys see how, like, the brush stroke starting here seems thicker than from here up, even though I'm using like the exact same like MS Paint brush? It's very odd to me. I love making people laugh, but that goal had made too many people hate me because I annoyed them. I know a lot of people thought I was annoying too. I don't know. I vacillated in school between, like, wanting people to like me and just despising everyone. I don't know. Like, I have no idea who would have liked me in school. Some people did. You know, I had some really good friends. And there were some people who were just, like, really nice, like, neutral people who weren't, like, aligned with the, like, super girly girls or, like, the jocks or any of the nasty elites, who I'm sure, you know, didn't think, like, ill of me as I didn't of most of them. I don't know. I'm one of those people, I need affirmation, though. I need proof that people don't think I'm a useless obstruction to peace and happiness, or I just assume that people hate me. Oh my god, Vorst, how are you? Oh my god. I'm intoxicated, so don't bother asking, because you already know now. You had 0 people over to your house in all of high school. That's crazy, dude. That's actually worse than me. I had people over in high school. Some. In late middle school and early high school, there was one girl who's, like, she's good friends with my, like, best friend from childhood now. But there was this one girl who liked anime, and she was super sweet, and we had a ton in common as far as our sense of humor and stuff. And my mom was like, my mom was constantly pressuring me to have people over. And I had crippling depression. I was suicidal a lot of the time in high school, and my anxiety was so bad that I couldn't function. Like, I had sorry, I know this is gross. I had irritable bowel syndrome in high school. Like, it was so bad that my stomach, I would go through every morning when I got up for school, all through high school, I would have these horrific, excruciatingly painful cramps that would work from, like, the top of my intestines down every morning before school. And then I would just have horrific diarrhea, like, every morning before school. So, like, by the time I got to school, I was like shaky and boneless, and like my whole midsection, all of my muscles down my back and my abdomen, I just felt like jelly. Like I couldn't even sit up straight. Like my spine was numb and my legs hurt. Like, that's how bad my anxiety was. I was terrified. It just made me sick. I couldn't sleep. Like, when I was sitting in class, like there was this one guy I had for biology and stuff like that, all through high school for different classes. He would go around and have everybody in order in the class, like read the next question and the answer for their homework. I was so scared. Of misspeaking or saying the wrong answer and having him yell at me in class that like I would be shaking and hyperventilating, like literally, physically, visibly shaking. I was petrified. I was so scared of him. Like I couldn't function in high school. I was nowhere near in the mindset to where I could actually have somebody over after school that I wanted to be friends with. I remember that biology teacher, I forgot, and then recently I was thinking about how scared I was of him again. I was terrified of him. Like, one time I, like, cried and apologized to him for being a nuisance, like, I apologized, like, I'm sorry for being, even more of a nuisance to you than usual, or something like that. And it was like, that made him realize that how scared I was of him and how ashamed and how bad I felt that I already existed and was annoying him. And he realized like how sensitive I was then, and he was really nice to me after that. But like my anxiety was so horrible in high school. There was no way I could have had anybody over after school. I was petrified of everything and everyone. So like there was this one girl who was super, super sweet and super funny and nice. And we had a ton in common, and it made me so happy to have something in common with somebody that I would talk to my mom about her a lot. And my mom pushed and pushed and pushed like every day for years for me to have her over, and I needed to start being better friends with her, to the point where there was so much pressure on me to be her friend that I totally blew it. Like I totally screwed up the opportunity to be her friend, because every time I was around her, there was so much pressure on me to become her friend that I was like terrified of her. And to this day, we never became more than kind of like casual friends, because it just became this thing, like I couldn't have friends like that. I was just so terrified of everyone. So that didn't help. Thanks, Mom. Thank you. What are you drinking? I'm drinking Mike's Margaritas. I had one a little bit earlier, and I'm having another one now. I mean, they're only 5% alcohol, but I had one of these and I was already, like, very loopy. So, the second one, I'm divulging all my dark secrets now. So, yay. Instead of IBS, it was chronic nosebleeds. That's awful, Manly. I've had, like, 3 nosebleeds in my life. And they were like, oh my god, like, I am seeing the light at the end of the tunnel nosebleeds. One of them was actually while I was looking at, like, sexy pictures, like, sexy fan art of Kakashi. Like, I got one of my hardcore nosebleeds, and I was like, this isn't real. This is not really happening. But it was. You had, like, 3 friends in high school that you hung out, and that was about it. Yeah. Aw, really sucked when any of them had sick days or days off from high school, though. Yeah, it is weird. When you've got that few friends and then they're gone, you're like, well, shit. You were basically a tard in high school. No one knew what to do with me. I love you, Manly. Your mom kept forcing you to do social shit. Yeah, my mom did that too, and I feel so bad because, like, what are they supposed to do? Like, what do they do? Like, most kids don't have, like, horrific, crippling social, like, ineptitude. So I don't fault my mom at all for trying. Like, the approach with the one girl I wanted to be friends with was horrible, but, like, she kept trying to force me into social stuff too, and it's like, what should she have done? I don't fault her for that, because how else do you try? Like, my mom never had problems like I did. Like, crippling anxiety, she never had problems like that at all. Nothing like that. Like, she was semi-popular in high school. She got along with everybody. So as much as she loved me and as hard as she tried to help me, you know, it's like to this day, you know, me being 25 years old now, she's still starting to understand things about my anxiety that she just didn't back then, and that like caused a lot of trouble at home too, because she thought I was being just really bitchy and disrespectful and snide for the sake of it. Like when I would ask her, please don't stand in my doorway, like come into the room, don't crowd me, or don't, like when I'm doing my makeup or my hair, don't stand in the bathroom doorway and trap me in here, because I have horrible claustrophobia, and anytime like I feel like I'm trapped in a room or like backed into a corner, I freak out. And whenever I would ask her to do that, she would say, you know, she would accuse me of being controlling and disrespectful, and I'm like, I literally can't breathe because I feel like I'm trapped in this room, you know. So it's just one of those things. It's hard, you know. And I don't fault my mom for many of the effort she made, because she was really trying and she didn't know what else to do, you know. I'm rambling and I'm drawing a ribbon. Once I was just in the nurse's office for like half an hour bleeding into a bucket. How are you alive, Manly? Like, you just have periods out of your face. To this day, my antisocialness eats my mom up inside. Yeah, that makes me wonder if, like, was she like a social butterfly in school? Because one of my best friends, like, her mom was like that. Like, her mom was a girly girl. She was like one of the elites. She was a cheerleader. And my friend was like kind of a tomboy. She wasn't like super into sports or anything, but she was good at them. She wasn't super girly or anything, you know, like she'll do a little bit of cute makeup sometimes and she'll paint her nails, but like her mom pushed. Like her mom wanted to basically live vicariously through my friend, and nothing was ever good enough. And it's like, I don't know, you know, you see that element a lot. Like, I always joke about it with my fiance, like, I'm scared to have kids. Like, what if we had a kid and he was like a jock? Like, what if we had a kid and he was like the star quarterback? Like, we would be horrified. Like, it would be so obvious that we had no idea what was going on, even if we tried our hardest to support him. Like, you know, it would be really hard though to have been like in the highest social caste in school and then to not have your kid do as well as you, or as well as you want in that regard. I don't know. You were unlucky enough to get so sick that most of your time was spent in nurses' beds. That's horrible. You didn't have to put up with assholes while you were there. Yeah, that's good. That's really sad too. Yeah, I know. Like, my mom can't imagine me being happy in my room. That's kind of how my mom is. Like, when I talk to her about you guys, like, she's really sweet about it and she's respectful and supportive, but she doesn't understand how online relationships, she doesn't believe that they're real. She doesn't believe that online friendships are real friendships. Which I understand, because she's never really had that. Like, I could argue you met your husband through an online correspondence, you know, like you met him through Match.com. But online relationships can't be authentic. But, you know, I'm trying not to be, I don't want to be like nasty like that. But it's like, it's a generational thing, and I understand it. I know to an extent that is true. Like, relationships that are just in text, that kind of correspondence is not going to be the same as a relationship that's put through, I don't know, the motions. Just like, you go shopping together, you go to movies together, you hang out together, you know, one night and just drink beers and talk about your life. Like, I recognize that, but at the same time, in a way, I almost feel like online relationships are almost more, they're almost realer, deeper friendships than like in-person friendships. Because when you're talking to people online, like, you don't have the buffer of like sitting at a movie or, you know, eating out and enjoying your food and your drinks and stuff. Or like, you don't have the buffer of being, I don't know, like at an amusement park or at a party or with a bunch of other people or something like that. Like, when you're friends with somebody online, like, you are at like the deepest level of communication at all times. Like, your friendship hinges on you divulging information to one another, just words, just information, talking back and forth, you know? So in some ways I feel like online, like internet built friendships are almost more authentic, because we're not like all, just like dicking around drinking beers and watching a movie or something. Like, we are talking in the most intimate personal way all the time. Like, that's the crux of your relationship when you've got online friends. Unless you do the thing where you like stream a movie and then your friends watch it while you talk on Discord or something. That's a little different. Or like if you're doing co-op gaming with your friends, that's different too. But I just don't really do much of that. I'm afraid of having a kid because I feel like my bloodline is tainted, and she'd grow up like me and have an awful life. That's funny. Like, we have a lot in common in that regard, dude. My mom is the same. Yeah, I know. Yeah, like, my mom is, I mean, we're not as close anymore because she's got like her own family and her own life now. And I'm still, a chubby shut-in failure otaku, but still, in many regards, my mom is my best friend, but yeah, like, we led such different lives. Like, if we had been in school together, I don't think I would have liked her at all, we just had very different experiences as children and growing up. Like, some of the parallels are unbelievable, like, you wouldn't believe them when you hear them, but then in other ways we were very, very different socially, and how we viewed the world and how we dealt with the obstacles placed in front of us. So that is something that's just something you can't like bridge that gap, with somebody who's just never had that experience. And I also understand, like, when people criticize online relationships, there's a lot of truth to that. It's very easy to lie about yourself. It's very easy to catfish somebody or be catfished. It's very easy to build up a perception in the public eye. Like, your persona can be very untrue to who you really are and stuff like that. Like, it is easy to deceive and be deceived online, and you can, in many like different like I guess social forums and things like that, you can limit your interactions to very, very like simple, kind of superficial ones. So like, there are a lot of ways in which criticism of like online relationships and lifestyles is valid, but that doesn't change the fact that the whole world is moving to the internet. It's important to socialize with people in the real world, especially for somebody like me, as much as possible. Like, I have such bad social anxiety that, like, if I go for like 2 weeks without going like 30 minutes into like the nearest big city where I do some of my like shopping and stuff, sometimes I regress. Like, for me, socialization is a muscle that atrophies. As like, if I stop using it for like 2 days, I lose it and I have to relearn it, and my anxiety is terrible again. So, especially for somebody like us, like introverts, it's extremely important to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and to practice as much as possible. Just existing in like very busy, stressful, like social face-to-face situations. But that doesn't change the fact that like most business, most commerce, most viewership of entertainment is online now. Like, whether that cripples us socially or not, that's the way the world is now, and you have to embrace that and you have to respect that if you want to, if you want to be good at it, if you want to succeed career-wise. A lot of what happens now is online. So, it goes both ways. I think that a lot of criticisms are valid, but I think a lot of, you can't just like be dismissive of it either, like, the relationships you build with people online can make or break you, and they can drastically change your life for the better or for the worse. I will not draw a swastika on her face. I think that's hilarious, and I would, But YouTube is like a crazed totalitarian place where if you even like pick your nose wrong, you get banned forever. People call you a white supremacist. You got a fiance, that's pretty good. I only recently got my first real GF a few months ago and she's in Canada. That's so sweet though. Unless you're talking about Margaret, in which case I'll beat you and steal your girlfriend. Online chatting can help because you can take more time to not say something retarded. Yeah. Yeah. I am very bad about that. I say wildly inappropriate things all the time. I have a really dark sense of humor, which gets me in trouble a lot. And people think I'm being nasty or dismissive, but it's like I will joke about horrible things about myself all the time. You know, like I'll tell my mom if I'm running errands, or I'll tell my fiance if I'm running errands or something, or just going somewhere. Like I'll tell them what jewelry I'm wearing, like in case they have to identify my body. Or I'll say, you know, I know it's annoying, but I'm saying I love you in case, you know, the next time you see me, it's like I'm, you know, chopped up in little bits in a ditch somewhere. Like, I just have a very, very dark, bleak outlook on things. And because I deal with that through humor, that comes across as really not okay to most people who are a little bit more sensitive. So, yeah, the whole online thing, the buffer of being able to think, is this a really freaking dumb thing to say before you say it, definitely helps me too. I've been single my whole life. That's not a bad thing, Vorst. Just do your own thing. Like, I don't know. That's another thing, like, in that regard, just decided I'm going to grow up at my own rate. Like, being a teenager is a living hell. It is hell. It is a nightmare. It's torture. It's miserable. There is nothing good about it. And if you say otherwise, it's because you were the dumb meathead jock in school who now beats your wife, never gets laid, and has to get drunk out of your mind and watch Friday Night Football to feel like you're reliving anything worth anything. Yeah, that's very mean. I'm sorry. It's very childish. But yeah, like, it's horrible being a teenager, especially. And I don't know. The reason I bring that up is because when I was in that living hell of teenagerness, I kind of, my like analysis of it was that like being a teenager is the stage where you go from being a child to an adult. And the whole existence of being a teenager is everybody pressuring you into being an adult before you're ready. Where it's a transition that, like, there's so many different aspects of you as a person. You know, your sense of humor, your interest in, like, I don't know, scholarly things, just how coordinated you are, you know, how selfless you are toward other people, your rejection of more childish things like kid shows and stuff like that, romance or sexuality, you know, just social things in general. Like, there are so many different, moving parts that define you as a person, and every one of those parts, I believe there's a transition where you really stop being a child, and in the way you deal with that one aspect of yourself, you become an adult, you know. And maybe all those things happen at once, or maybe they all happen differently, just depending on your experiences and who you are. But the whole stage of being a teenager is, as soon as it starts, it's people pushing, pressuring you to, like, betray and denounce everything that made you who you were as a kid and become an adult. And like, I just decided I'm going to grow up at my own pace. I'm not going to let people pressure me. I'm not going to pretend to be this like cool, judgmental, disdainful adult. You know, if I think that penis is a funny word, I'm gonna laugh at it. If I like kids shows, I'm gonna watch them. I'm not gonna do this horseshit thing where I pretend to be an adult until I actually am one. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to let this whole me thing like evolve organically at its own rate. You know, I'm not going to like rob myself of this happiness and this experience to like fit in and to be accepted by people. And one of those things was like relationships and stuff. Like that's the whole rambling thing there, Vorst. That's why I went on that tangent there. But like, I know people who like lost their virginity, and I'm not talking about like, you know, like when we were molested or something horrible like that, but like I know people who lost their virginity like on purpose when they were like 11. Like I know a lot of people who were 12 or 13 who were having sex. And that's, everybody's different. I do believe that there may be people out there who, when they were that young, maybe they actually were mentally mature enough to handle the emotional effects of and the repercussions of sex. You know, I think there might be a minuscule, tiny like percent of people who actually are capable of dealing mentally in a healthy way with sex and are able to handle it at that age, like when you're 12 or 13. Most people, no, absolutely not. Most people, when they're like even 20 or 21, are not prepared to be able to handle like the consequences of sex mentally. I'm not even talking about the physical stuff. But like, I was just like, hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be pressured into that. Like, something as important as relationships and sex, like, anybody who tries to tell you how to behave in that regard can go to hell. Like, don't let people pressure you into things like that. Like, that stuff is so important. Like, I would much rather be a lot older and have not been in a relationship than, like, being in a relationship when you're, like, 11 and, like, you know, fumbling your virginity away in, like, your boyfriend's sister's bunk bed when you're, like, 11 and a half just so you can brag to your friends about it and feel like a grown-up. Like, that's pathetic. It's so sad, you know? Just live your own life. Like, is it that, like, scandalous to say that? Just, like, live your own life, be yourself. Don't do things before you're ready. You know, like, listen to your gut, listen to your instincts. When it comes to something as important as relationships, don't listen to societal pressures. You know, when it's the right thing to do, you'll know. And when it's not, if you just don't meet the right person, I think it's better to be alone than just being with somebody to have access to, like, sex and physical affection and closeness with somebody when it's not the right person, and in the end it won't have been a rewarding experience for you, you know? Noise meme. What meme, Ryan? What meme? Did I meme? Like, my brother went to Europe and the Middle East last year after college, and I said he's probably off fighting ISIS single-handedly, and your mom freaks. Why? Like, you're basically consenting to being, like, brutalized by a gang of like, bearded, screaming men in turbans by going over to Europe. Please don't ban me, YouTube. That's not true. I'm being facetious. But yeah, like, that's the kind of joke I would make. And, I don't have siblings, so my mom doesn't have anybody to freak out about, you know? Thank God there aren't more of me, because they would be the better me, and then I would be the failure sibling. That's for sure. I've been a virgin for 2,000 years, and I only cry 4.5 times a day. I got you. I relate to you on a spiritual level. Far Cry 4.5 times a day. If I ever catch 12 and 13-year-olds having sex, I will cry and murder suicide. It's deeply disturbing, you know? I understand that for many generations that's how society was. Like, you had to get married, you know, or at least for women, you were married off as soon as you were, like, sexually probably capable of carrying a child to term. Like, that was when your timer started running out. But I think part of what has allowed us to, like, become more sophisticated and evolved as a society is that children are not forced into that. Like, you don't have to make a crap ton of babies before you're 30 because you're going to die of the bubonic plague at 35. Like, when we live as long as we do, when we have all the technological and medical advancements that we do, it's not as imperative that you have children when you're still a child. And I don't think that children just being allowed to be children and develop mentally and socially at their own pace and, like, look into what career they might want, as opposed to, you know, like, having sex when they're just kids and you know, making all these adult decisions when they're not old enough to really understand them without being traumatized in the long run. I don't think that's a bad thing in general. He got robbed in Morocco, but they only took like $20 because Morocco is poor as hell. Dear God, Manly Chicken. See, your mom should respect the fact that you stay in your room because you didn't get robbed by Moroccans. You know, that's what being a shut-in incel got you. It got you not being robbed by Moroccans. So who's the winner here? Out of the Manly siblings. Hello, Kenneth, the Kentucky fam. Fam. Star Butterfly Mort. Thumbs up. Indeed. Yeah, I know I was pretty late on a lot of things. Like, I had my first kiss 5 days before I turned 19. That was part of my gay crisis. It was not. It was pretty gay, but it was not a crisis. That whole experience. She made me realize you are not just attracted to men, in fact. You are very attracted to some women. But like I didn't have my first kiss until I was almost 19. And my fiance and I had been together for quite a while before we became intimate, you know, and obviously I was not around the average age of like 14 or 15 when I lost my virginity, because I didn't even start dating my fiance until I was like 19 and a half. And I don't feel any shame about that, you know. I would rather have not dealt with any of that stuff. I would rather have not worried about that stuff. I'm glad I wasn't like pressured by any of my friends into doing that stuff before I was mentally ready and before I found the right person. I'd much rather be the way I have been than being pressured into doing something that you're going to regret, you know? Like the only person I've ever been with physically is the person who is my best friend, who I love more than anything, who I am so grateful for and who I'm so excited to be able to spend the rest of my life with. Like, I'd much rather be this way, you know, than have like lost my virginity when I was just a kid to somebody who I don't even know anything about anymore. Not to mention that like this whole culture of people being pressured into relationships and sex and stuff like that when they're little, like when you're 11 or 12, you don't comprehend the consequences of something like that, you know? Like, you don't understand. Kids don't understand how birth control works. Kids don't understand how STDs work. Kids don't even understand how the mechanics of sex work in many cases. So, like, you know, I don't think that our society, in some ways, sort of getting away from that and telling kids to just be kids and enjoy themselves and grow up at their own pace. I don't think that's a bad thing. But you know, I'm one of the lucky ones in that I had the luxury of not like, bye Manly, I love you. Like I didn't have older siblings or like older cousins or like a babysitter who was like 15, you know, when I was like 10 or 11. I felt like the scorn and the judgment of my peers when I didn't do those things that you were supposed to do to act more grown up than you were. Like, I definitely paid for it socially, but I didn't have anybody around 24/7 who was mocking me and pressuring me and like joking about sex and watching, you know, like things that had to do with sex on TV or listening to music that had to do with sex all the time. Like, I was very lucky. You know, if I had had older siblings or people pushing and pressuring me constantly, it might have been different, you know. I don't know how much of that is like character, like my strength of character, and how much was just I was very lucky to be in the situation I was, you know. Like, in many regards, I feel like I think that having no siblings was really hard for me. Like, a lot of the time, I feel like if I had had siblings, I wouldn't have been, like, suicidal, to be perfectly honest, as much of the time. Like, if I had had somebody else who knew exactly what I had been through and was going through the same things, I would have had somebody on my team. You know, I wouldn't have been terrified and lonely all the time. And if I had had younger siblings specifically, like, when there's somebody I care about who's in a bad situation, I just, like, snap into protector mode. You know, if it's my mom, my fiance, anybody, all of a sudden I can do things that normally would be scary if, like, I was the person I was worried about. Like, if there's someone else, you know, who I need to take care of, who I love, and who I, you know, want to protect and keep happy and healthy. Like, if I had had younger siblings, I think I would have coped a lot better with my childhood because I would have had somebody to be strong for. You know, it wouldn't have been all about me because there would have been somebody else who I could focus on more. So I wouldn't have just been, like, terrified and alone and, like, lost. Excuse me, I'm just casually dying now. I'm attracted to women, but people get mad when I call myself a lesbian. Why? Is it because you're a male? I'm sorry. You're bisexual. Congrats. Your husband is getting threesome. Well, I don't know about that necessarily. You need to try BDSM, Mort, with your husband. You seem like the totally submissive type. I am 100% a submissive. You definitely guessed, or, well, you figured correctly there based on what you know about me. All my friends started having sexerinos when they were like 2 years old. Meanwhile, here I am, 18, can't even look an attractive woman in the eyes without convulsing and having a stroke. That's really funny. Yeah, I actually am kind of the same way. Like, my sexuality confuses me a lot. Like, I am attracted to men, but when it comes to men, I'm basically attracted to men who are much older than me and who are what most people would consider to be creepy. Like, if a guy isn't older and isn't kind of, like, lecherous and doesn't make you feel like you need to find some pepper spray, I'm not attracted to him. Meanwhile, with women, hold on, I'm gonna scream. I hate this. My hangnails, I can't do it. It needs to go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. And all this dead skin has to go too. Like, this is a grade A 10 out of 10 stream. Man, tell you what. You guys are lucky to be witnessing this greatness live. Tell you what. Like, with women, it's different. Like, with men, I tend to have a very specific type. And I don't mean to call, like, my fiance creepy. Tech support husbando is not creepy. You know, like, out of all the men I could have ended up with, I think my mom should be very relieved that I ended up with him as opposed to somebody older and creepier. But, like, with women, there are some women who are very butch who I'm very attracted to. Like, women who are pretty masculine, I tend to be very, very, like, viscerally attracted to. But then, in regard to, like, super pretty feminine girls, like, when I find a girl who's, like, more feminine than me to be attractive, like, when I am physically attracted to her, I do the exact same thing. DJ Ballin, I hope that's how I say your name correctly, but, like, I still to this day, like, if I roll up to the McDonald's window to get my morning coffee and the girl who hands it to me is super cute, I just become, like, a stuttering idiot. I just turn into, like, a 14-year-old love-struck boy. I just, like, I mean, I'm a 25-year-old girl who's engaged, and when I see a pretty girl, I'm still just a stuttering, like, terrified, blushing mess. I don't know. That's not a very hopeful, like, message to give you, but I don't know if that ever goes away. It probably will for you, I hope. I wish I had siblings too. I do have an older bro, but we're so distant that it doesn't really count. I understand that, yeah. I know people who have siblings who are like 10 or 15 years older, you know, and it's like, you don't really have a sibling if that's the case, you know, like, how would you even, you're in totally different worlds, you know. I have 3 siblings, but 2 of them are French and sound weird, and the one that wasn't was a ginger. I love redheads. Yeah. I may be a little bit drunk. Dude, I love redheads. If your ginger sibling is semi-attractive and is interested, tell them I said hi. um, yeah, I don't know. I guess the whole reason I went on that rambling nonsense rant was just to say that, like, yes, for a lot of my life, I have been very, very lonely, and I really wish I had a sibling. You know, because at least I wouldn't have been so frightened and alone all the time. Like, being alone is terrible. I hate it. Like, it taught me how to be, like, self-sufficient in that I was writing and drawing for hours a day when I was little. You know, like, my parents would be in marital counseling a couple times a week, and I was just alone with a notebook. Or, I didn't have any siblings, so I was always writing and drawing and reading. So because I was alone, I learned how to have fun alone. And that sounds saucy, but I don't mean it like that at all, I just mean I learned to be, like, self-sufficient in that regard. Like, I always have, like, a notebook and a pencil. Always. I'm always writing and drawing. Like, I don't know how not to now. So I am grateful for, like, being isolated a lot of the time, because it forced me to, like, start doing a lot of the things that I am good at now, just because I got so much practice, and a lot of things that I love, writing and drawing and stuff. And like I said earlier, which hadn't really occurred to me till tonight, maybe if I had had siblings, it would be hard to be more socially awkward and geeky than me. So I'm sure if I had siblings, they would have been more popular and better at, just being social than I was. So, maybe if I had had siblings, maybe I would have been pressured a lot more to conform. Maybe I would have been a lot more, I would have felt more pressured to, like, drink and, I don't know, do drugs and just watch shows and movies and listen to music that I would have been really uncomfortable with and wouldn't have understood or been mature enough for when I was younger. Maybe I would have felt a lot more pressured to, like, be dating and have sex at a younger age if I had had siblings. I don't know. So, in some ways, I think that maybe the fact that I was so alone a lot of the time, like, maybe that helped me find, maybe that helped me kind of, like, curate my beliefs as far as, like, everybody else can do what they want, but I'm not going to let people pressure me into being anyone but myself. I'm going to let myself mature at my own pace. I'm not going to be pressured. I'm not going to, like, sell out and stop being who I am. I'm not going to denounce the person I have been since I was little entirely just to be cool. Like, I'm going to be myself as I grow up, and nobody can stop me. Like, I think maybe just being alone, that solitude kind of gave me the space to come to that conclusion myself. Does that make any sense? Probably not. My beard is orange. It was a surprise due to my brown hair. My beard is red/blonde/black, so yay. That's funny. My fiance has a couple, like, red hairs in his beard, and it's very random and mysterious. Hi, Nuvi. If you had siblings, you'd have been given a swirly. Thank you. That's probably true. Yeah, I got to skip out on a lot of the bullying because I didn't have siblings. And I didn't get physically bullied a lot in school either, I'm glad I wasn't a guy because of that. I would have gotten, if I hadn't been a, like, semi-attractive girl in school, I would have gotten bullied a lot more, I think, So I'm lucky in that regard. Yay, I'm drawing myself. I'm really, like, puttering out here energy-wise, but I'll keep going a bit longer. I should try not to go to bed super late tonight. I shouldn't screw up my sleep schedule too bad. Alright. Yeah, to this day I have no idea. And a lot of that is because I didn't have siblings or anything. I still don't know how the hell to interact with human beings. Like, what are people? I still don't understand. I don't know how to do it. Did you get beat up a lot, Vorst? Well, if you ever run into any of those people who beat you up as a kid, let me know, and boy howdy, I will be on my way to get locked in like a little local place for violent delinquents on your continent. I will murder people. I will find them. I will track them down and make them sorry. It does make sense. Being alone can show you that you don't need to rely on people's approval, I guess. To an extent, but, what is my hair doing? What is this? Oh, what? How? Why? It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Yeah, to an extent, I don't rely on people's approval peer-wise, but, like, as far as people who are my superiors, I still desperately need approval. Like, I think my mom, like, she told me I was good enough, and she praised me for the things that I was good at, and she loved me dearly and voiced that all the time, but I still feel like, I don't know, I still, like, desperately craved approval. I desperately needed to know I was good enough, and I still do to this day. I don't know which love language that is, but whichever one where you, like, desperately need praise all the time to feel good enough, that one is still me, to an extent. Even teachers bullied me. Really? I mean, I had, like, there were these two, like, nasty, very short postmenopausal women in middle school who were, like recess monitor was all the more successful they were in their whole lives. Like, that would be at the top of their resumes. And they, like, followed me around like a hawk and screamed about me and at me, which was very odd. But as far as real teachers, I don't think I got bullied too much. So that's awful. I binge shonen anime, collect children's spinning tops, play main series Pokemon games, and sleep. Gonna be hell hard to find someone. On top of that, I'm not the most attractive human being. Well, that's just silly. You just do you, man. Fortunately, we're kind of entering this, like, social era where it's not nearly as, like, you're not gonna be ridiculed nearly as much for liking anime and Pokemon. Like, I met my fiance in anime club, so it's getting easier. Your chances are better than they would have been 10 years ago or something like that, or even 5, But you'll find someone. Don't worry. Just be yourself. Just try to be comfortable being yourself, and, like, think about, like, the person that is, like, the ideal person for you. And, like, visualize, like, the dream girl or the dream significant other for you. And then think about, like, the person they would want to be with, and then start being that person. Like, be the kind of person that your dream girl, so to speak, would want to be with. Like, when you start being the kind of person that your ideal would be attracted to, that's how you get them to come to you. And I'm not saying be fake, just, like, start being the best version of yourself you can be. Start being the kind of person that people you would find attractive. Does that make any sense? That helped me. I'm all snoodly and snotty now. My allergies are getting bad. I was intimidating enough that when I told the bullies to leave someone alone, they listened, and it helped that my brother had a habit of hospitalizing the school bullies. My God, I love your brother, Nuvi. Tell your brother I love him. That's awesome. I was not intimidating, but, there were times when I very vocally stood up for my friends. I had a couple friends who were just bullied viciously, and I just got sick of it, and I would scream at people. I didn't care what they told other people about me or how shocked and terrified of me they acted, as if I was some kind of, like, escaped psych ward patient for just sticking up for somebody and not taking their shit anymore. I was not intimidating. I was just kind of funny to them when I would stick up for my friends, but they would leave them alone when I talked to them, or when I finally, like, confronted them about it. If your hair bothers you, shave it. That'll show it. I'll tolerate it. I'm still not entirely sure what this is here on this side, but that's okay. It's worth it. Second that, shave it. No. Yeah, your arm is messed up because your PE teacher. I'm going to find your PE teacher and make them sorry they were born, Vorst. That's ridiculous. I demanded puppet, so dance. Forgot that quote from. I don't know where it's from either. School is actually hell. Yes, it is. If you beat up bullies, wouldn't that make you the bully? Bullyception. No, that makes you the freaking the Punisher. I don't know. School is actually hell. Yeah, and that's so funny, Vorst. I was gonna say that when Manly was still here, but he yeeted onto his, wherever he was going. He left, but excuse me, I'm sorry. I should have brought a water bottle, because when I talk this much I die, but I didn't. Manly was saying that he's scared to have kids, and he's probably being partially sarcastic, but because he had a tainted bloodline, he said, and he's scared that he or she would have an awful life like him. But, to be serious about that, school being a living hell and being so horrible is legitimately why I don't want to have children. I've had a bunch of, weird, 50-something conservatives tell me, well, that's horrible. Well, you're just a selfish child. No, if you think I'm a selfish child, after hearing the reasons why I don't want to have children, you can go to hell, because you don't know anything about me, clearly, and you didn't listen to anything I just said. But I, as much of a living hell as my life has been, I would never put an innocent child through what I've been through. I couldn't do it. When you see the way people love their children, when you see how fiercely parents love their kids, seeing a little innocent soul who, I made, who's, part me, who I'm responsible for, go through the hell I've been through, I don't think I could psychologically take it. I couldn't watch, my child go through what I've been through. And if there's the slightest chance that the child that I, create would go through the hell I've been through, which is most, likely, because the world is becoming a more and more hellish place. Society's falling apart. It's becoming a total, pro-censorship, totalitarian, nightmare, even in the freest country in the world, in America here. I'm not doing that to a child. I think it would be selfish of me. For me, it would feel sadistic to invoke that, to bring an innocent little life into the world, without their permission, just to have a happy little family and have that joy in my life of, oh, I have this beautiful little child and I love them, I have a conscience, and just from my experiences, I could not do that to a child. I couldn't. That would be sick to me, to put a child through what I've been through. I don't know. I'm not as depressed as I used to be, and I'm not suicidal anymore, obviously. I'm sorry, Ryan. Every time you show up, I talk about really dark, disturbing stuff. I know. My brain is breaking. I couldn't do that to a child. No, I don't. Most days I don't wish I was dead. But just as exhausting and overwhelming as life is just too much. It's just too much. It's, I'm finally, for the first time in my life, starting to feel otherwise. But for the vast majority of my life, I have not felt like it was worth it. They always tell you, don't kill yourself. Someday you'll be glad you didn't. And I'm finally getting to the point where I'm glad I never succeeded, or I never went through with it. But I don't know. I still don't. I don't know. There have been many, many days, even in the last few months, where I just wish I wouldn't wake up in the morning. And there have been many times, I believe in God. I believe in an afterlife. But I wish God wasn't real. Because I just wish I could cease to exist. Because existence, it's just too much. It's too much. I don't want to put a kid through that, But I have to say, I've mentioned that a couple times, and I made a video talking about why I don't want kids and why I think a lot of millennials don't. I say that I would never put an innocent life through that, but what I mean by that is I'm not going to try to have kids. Like, I disagree with abortion. If I get pregnant, I'm not going to punish another human being for me doing what you have to do to get pregnant. I'm not going to punish that person by killing them. You know, like, if, as you can see, obviously, I believe in God. I believe in an afterlife. I believe that life is, what is happening? My hair is a nightmare. Like, I believe that everyone, you know, exists because they have a purpose. I believe that life is meaningful. Like, I genuinely do believe that if I ever do get pregnant, not that I'm just screwing around, like, well, if it happens, it happens. Like, I'm doing everything within my power to not get pregnant. You know what I mean? But if I ever do, if, like, the birth control methods were to fail, I would believe that that was meant to be. You know, I know I would be a phenomenal mom. I know I would. Because I already think that life is so horrible, and because I would already, like, be ready to fight with everything in me to help my child to be happy and safe and the absolute, you know, most, like, fulfilled, well-rounded, joyful person in the world. I would do everything that I could possibly do to make that kid have the best life ever, and, like, be armed with the skills necessary to deal with the hell that this world is. Like, I know I would be a good mom. And if that is my path, if that is what God intends for me, I'm not going to abort a child. I'm not going to do that, you know? So if I do get pregnant, I will try to handle that with grace, and I will do everything within my power to give that child the best life possible. But I'm not going out of my way to bring a baby into the world. You know, if it happens, I will deal with it. But I don't want to make a child, and I'm not going to try. 'Cause there are enough children in this world already, you know, living through the hell that is life. I'm not going to do that to another innocent baby. Does that make sense? Why am I so congested now? Help! I'm drowning. Give your child a suicide button so they can decide for themselves. Oh, I scrolled on the lady instead of in the pop-out chat. Whoops. Cool art, thank you. I'm just drawing myself, kind of. I don't know what I'm doing. Excuse me. See, I know this is really radical, but, like, to me, one of the arguments I would, like, make is that suicide is less immoral than abortion. Like, if you abort a child because you think their life is going to be bad, or because you don't want them, you're killing somebody because their life might be bad. Like, suicide, if somebody kills themselves, at least they were given a shot. You know, at least they were given the chance to live life and decide for themselves if it was worth living. Obviously, suicide is not something that people, like, attempt because they're in the right headspace. Obviously, you desperately need help. If you're desperate enough to do that. But, like, at least if you kill yourself, you're the one who made the decision to take your own life. It wasn't somebody else who decided for you, well, this baby is going to have a horrible life, or I just don't want this baby, so I'm going to put them through an absolutely nightmarish, torturous death. Like, I know that's very controversial, but I should make a video doing something like that just to get people mad. But to be honest, I think the bad outweighs the good, but I guess I may have been lucky. I don't know about you. I'm finally starting to think that the good I'm starting to think that the bad does not outweigh the good. Like, I love my cats, I love my fiance, and you guys, just being able to make you guys happy, entertaining you, doing something interesting and thought-provoking that you guys enjoy, that has helped me a lot. You know, I'm starting to feel like life is worth it. I'm starting to enjoy it a little bit. The funny thing is, PE teacher got cancer and broke her leg. Good. Karma's a funny thing. Yeah. I'm gonna have 12 kids. I got millennials covered. Do it. Get me off the hook. Oh, yeah. I want kids so that I can add branches to my family tree. As an only child, I feel obligated to do so. Better incentive, I suppose. That's so funny, because, yeah, I kind of felt that way, too. Like, weirdly, I feel kind of guilty about that. Like, I have it sometimes. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening. I'm just, like, drowning in flembulous. I don't understand why or how or what I did to deserve this, but I'm dying. Gross. Yeah, like, I always felt guilty about that. Not necessarily about the family tree thing, because I don't think, like, my family is more important than anyone else. Like, obviously, I would do anything for my family, but I don't understand, like, this weird societal thing where, like, only your family matters. Like, the only people you should die for or, like, go out of your way to protect and, you know, like, enhance the lives of are your biological family. I don't really understand our, like, societal thought about that. Like, I have to have children in order to like, leave people, you know, in this world who deserve my love and happiness and who can carry on my significance and my love and my life, you know, onto someone else. But I always felt guilty because, like, you know how most moms, like, tell their kids, you need to give me grandchildren? Like, they constantly pressure their children into reproduction. My mom is not like that at all. Like, my mom did not want kids. The only reason she had me was because she actually had an aneurysm, and almost died. And, part of that was because she just lifted too much weight. So if it weren't for, like, super athletic, like, meat-headed jock activities that I'm always knocking, I wouldn't be alive. But, like, my mom couldn't take her birth control because they were scared that it would, I think, thicken her blood after she'd had an aneurysm. So I was a total accident. I was not wanted or intended, but my mom has been an amazing mom and an amazing friend to me. You know, so she's one of those people, she doesn't think that, like, creating a family, she's not psychotic about it. Like, she hasn't been pressuring me since my first, like, menstrual cycle to give her grandchildren. She's not like that at all. But, like, even then, I still feel guilty. Like, I feel like because our society treats people that way and, like, pressures people to have children, just to, like, appease their parents, I still feel bad. Like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong by not giving my mom grandchildren. And I've said that to her several times, and she's like, you know that's not important to me. I don't care about that. I want you to be happy. I don't ever want you to feel pressured into making human beings, like, having a family just to make me happy. That's not how I am at all. You know, and I know that about her. I know her well enough to know that she would never be that kind of person. But oh, that's even worse. I don't know why I thought parting my hair like that would make it better. Oh, dear sweet baby Jesus. I don't know what's happening there. I'm gonna mute myself and, like, honk here for a minute. I don't want you guys to have to hear me blow my nose. Hold that thought. Man, I don't know why this is happening. My nose all of a sudden is just like, party! No nose, no party. Sorry. But, like, I know my mom's not like that, as I was saying, but one of the great things about her getting married is that, like, my mom's husband, he had his kids when he was my age, he had all three of his kids already. Like, he had them young, and he did the right thing, and they got married, and he, like, got into college, I believe, and started caring for them. You know, he devoted his life to giving his kids the best life possible. So, like, my stepdad had his kids, like, very young. My mom, because she didn't plan on me at all, she had me when she was 37. So, like, I am younger. I'm young enough to be, like, my stepdad's kid's kid. Like, I'm the age of my stepdad's grandchildren. Because my stepdad's kids, like, they're, like, my step siblings, my stepdad's kids are old enough to be my parents, basically. So I have, like, no friends. I have nobody to relate to whatsoever as far as that, like, my step family, which sucks. I'm really ashamed and embarrassed and feel like a failure. because I can't relate to them at all. But now, because my stepdad has grandchildren, my mom has grandchildren, you know, yes, she's like their step grandma, but they love her and they don't see her that way. So it's like she, even though that's not something that she felt like she was missing, because I have not had children and I don't plan to, like, she has grandchildren now, you know, and she's great with kids. She's kind of a child herself. Like, she's like me. She didn't, like, force herself to grow up. Like, she still has this sort of childlike innocence and joy and excitement and, like, inquisitiveness toward life. So the fact that she can share that with kids and have that relationship with them without me having to have kids that I do not want to have is wonderful. So that makes me very happy. I'm sorry, I've been rambling, so I have to scroll back up to see everything you guys said. Automatic wombs could end abortion, more like relocation. Life is worth it with the right people. Honestly, you would be a cool mom. Well, thank you, Gonzo Duke. I think I would be a fun mom. For some reason, I have this vision of, like, having twin sons, and, like, on their 13th birthday, like, they come into the room and, like, all the lights are out and there's just, like, spooky candles around the room, and I've got their cake lit up, you know, with candles, and they're like, Mom, what's going on? Like, all the lights are out, and I'm like, let me tell you about Homestuck. Like, my kids would have all of the weirdest, nerdiest stuff pushed on them. I think I would be a great mom. I'm not bragging, but just because I would choose to make my life about that human being I made, I know I would be a good mom. But what if the automatic womb wants an abortion? What do you mean by that, automatic womb? Do you mean like a miscarriage? Cause yeah, miscarriage, that horrifies me. Like, I've been watching, there's this YouTube channel called Nurture. I believe it's a British channel about motherhood, and it fascinates me because I don't know anything about motherhood. I don't have any siblings. I don't have any, like, female cousins I'm close to. Like, I've never held a baby. I've never even been around a pregnant woman. I don't know anything about that stuff, so, you know, being able to learn about it is interesting. And the more I've, like, researched about childbirth and stuff like that, I had no idea how high the percentage is of women who have miscarriages. I was shocked. I had no idea. Like, many, many, many women have miscarriages because when your body decides that the pregnancy isn't viable, you know, your body terminates it. Your body's like, screw this, sorry, kid, you know, and then they're gone. And that freaks me out, too, because many, many women who miscarry don't know they had a miscarriage. Because, like, your body realizes that the pregnancy is not viable so early on in the development that you don't even know you're pregnant. You know, not only, like you haven't missed any periods yet. Like, before your period would have rolled around, you have miscarried. You know, your body has like, scrapped that and, you know, started afresh. I need to blow my nose again, but I'm out of tissues. Poop. No, I found a napkin. Oh, thank God. God is good. He's real. How else would this napkin be here? Checkmate, atheists. But yeah, that freaks me out, you know. I'm always like, that's so scary, you know. I mean, it shouldn't be scary. It's normal. It's sad, and death is inevitable, you know. Death is as inevitable as life, if not more so. But it's I don't know. I don't know about that. I think about that a lot. Honk honk. Indeed, thank you. I have to say, like, horoscopes, I'm not really into horoscopes, but my patron troll, Equius, there's something to that horoscope thing, at least as far as what Homestuck has taught me. I love your hair. Thank you. I know. People say they like my hair. I keep my hair long. I've never had my hair cut more than a couple inches to just, like, get the split ends off. But when people started gossiping about me in middle school and saying my hair was really gross and it was too long and it looked ridiculous, like at that age where little girls with long hair start getting it cut into these short, trendy styles, like in, you know, when you're like maybe 11 or 12, I was like, no, you can all go to hell. I'm going to be myself. Like, it made me even more stubborn. So my long blonde hair became part of my identity, like as a symbol of defiance to all the like nasty, uppity, girly girls who were all very, very worried about my hair for some reason. Comb your hair. Dude, I'll do it later. I'm back, missed everything, pretty much everything since my last comment. What was your last comment, Nuvi? I probably responded to it. I don't remember. Just watch my stream later. If you're bored, if you need something agonizingly boring to listen to make you fall asleep, listen to me later or something. Dog had a seizure. Jesus Christ, that's horrible. Oh, you have an albino German Shepherd? Poor baby. Now, I know albinism comes with some problems. Does that, like, are the health problems of being an albino and the seizures, like, is that stuff related to your knowledge, Nuvi? That's horrible. Nah, it's normal. You have I do not have a Discord. I keep forgetting. I don't know how to make one. That was a 2-part comment. I apologize. I'm sorry. It's hard to keep up with everything in my chat. I'm sorry about that. Moldo. Ever hold a football? That's how you hold a baby. Like, you throw it as hard as you can to make it go away. I'm sorry. The first comment was about robotic wombs potentially ending abortion and that people could transfer the child to that artificial womb. See, I think that the far left would still fight that, you know, because it's not about the mom not having to deal with it so much as it is that control over life. Why is my nose just running like a faucet? What's happening here? Your mom miscarried her first baby. I'm sorry about that. Cool, I'm gonna mute the thing and blow my nose, okay? Just talk amongst yourselves. Why is this happening to me? I'm gonna have to go soon because my nose doesn't like streaming. Sorry. I get what you're saying, Moldo. I apologize about that. Yeah, I think my fiance has an older sibling who was miscarried. And because most women don't know they've miscarried, I've always wondered, do I have an older sibling, you know, who didn't make it as far as I did, which is probably a horrible error of nature, and they probably would have done better than me, even if they had like 16 extra chromosomes. So automated, not automatic. Okay, I gotcha. You need I know, I use my napkin, dude, don't worry. 2 of my biggest fears are faulty nut or having a kid who gets sudden infant death syndrome. Also spiders, yeah. I know that stuff is crazy. Like, that also scares me too, because like I wouldn't abort a child. So like, what if my fiance and I found out that our child had some horrific disability that would, you know, keep that child from ever being an independent, well-rounded adult? You know, like, what would happen if we had to, like, completely put our lives on hold and be in debt for the rest of our lives to care for this child? You know, what if it was, like, a heartbreaking, nightmarish disability that they had? Like, would we be able to handle that? Like, I know we would. Like, we would rise to the challenge and care for our kid, but it's just so scary. You know, the thought of that is just so scary. I don't know. I'm too selfish in that regard. I'm too selfish to risk that also, you know. It's scary. Possibly I will watch it later. You didn't miss much, Nuvi. I muted myself twice to blow my nose. One of those that you were here for. I will make you get a Discord. I know, Ryder. I know. I apologize, Vorst. I was thinking about that. We do need to talk about that. I'll message you on Steam, Vorst, and we'll get started on that, because I don't know anything about Discord, honestly. No way you run with a football to the end zone, and then you throw it on the ground and go, right? That's how you handle a baby? I believe they are related, but I'm not sure. The seizures is how I ended up with him. Oh, you'll tweet me a picture. Okay, you got him because the people couldn't handle them. Oh, that's awful. Well, you were that baby's savior then. I'm so glad that you were able to adopt him. Poor sweet baby. I hate stuff like that too. Like, even with your pets, like, I've always thought if I had a superpower, I would just want to be able to talk to animals to tell them everything's okay. I promise you're okay. You're gonna be fine. Don't be scared. I'm here. This is for your own good. Like, because there's nothing more unbearable to me than seeing your babies, you know, your pets, I mean, terrified or in pain, like at the vet, or, you know, if something's happening, like if you have to do something to help them and they're frightened, that is unbearable to me, to see them terrified and in pain and they think you're hurting them, or they don't know why you're standing there while the vet is doing something scary and painful to them. So, you know, like having a child and seeing that child go through fear and pain, like that would be unbearable. That would kill me, I think, you know. Like, I know my mom said when I had to get my shots as a wee little baby and I cried, she cried because she couldn't take it. I don't know. That's really hard. But I'm so glad, Nuvi, that you have him and he has you and is loved and safe, and, you know, pets like that, people like you are just angels, you know, such a blessing to take care of an animal like that. You don't have a Steam. Okay. Oh, I meant Vorst. I was going to talk to Vorst about it, but I'll have to get a hold of you, Ryan, too, and see what you think. Because you are a lot more knowledgeable about Discord and just all of this whole like social media thing than me, I think. Yeah, you sent me a video on Twitter about it. Thank you, dude. I see that you sent me that. I will have to look at that later. I really appreciate that. I just realized you were drawing in MS Paint. That's dope. I like to make shit memes and use MS Paint to its maximum potential. That's the best thing about MS Paint. Just like screwing around, or like you can make something and then you blow it up so it's like hideous and pixelated and discolored. That's my favorite thing. Yeah, I struggle whenever I have to do something with my dogs. Yeah, it just kills me. I mean, I don't know. Like, I have my mom's cat, Illy. You guys may have seen her in some of my older videos. Like, I have a playlist on my channel called Creatures, in all capitals, and that is all of my videos that my pets are like the central focus of. And Illy is, like, she's my mom's cat. Like, Illy and Piper moved with my mom when she got married and moved with her husband. But Illy is this really, really adorable, fat, little, just like, you know, mixed breed American short hair cat who's like white with black spots. And Illy Bean is, like, she's one of my best friends in the whole world. I love that cat more than anything. I would do anything for her. And Illy, when she was like 2 or 3, had a stroke. We think it was something neurological, because we got home and Illy was acting really weird. Like, she was walking in a circle. So you could, obviously it was neurological because she just kept circling and circling in the same direction. And we think she fell and injured herself because her left side has always been really weak since then. But because it's one side, that also makes us think it was a stroke. So since then, Illy has been very weak on her one side. And that was just that one time Illy had some freak thing that happened and she recovered, but she's still weaker on that one side and stuff. And that, I mean, that's just, you know, she's just a fat little cat, and that, you know, it was horrible. It just was sickening. I couldn't function, you know, because she was so scared and something was wrong neurologically in her head, and she didn't understand what was happening. She was terrified, you know, and you can't tell an animal or a wee little kid you're going to be okay. I promise it's okay. You can't explain to them what's going on, and it breaks my heart. And my nose, apparently, because my nose is crying. Yeah, Caesar Milan can talk to dogs. I cannot. I can scream at them to stop barking. SCP, that's what you need. Wait, why would I need an SCP? Ryan, have you heard of the new SCP game that's like a multiplayer? Leonardo da Vinci uses Microsoft Paint. Does he? Well, I bet I use it better. Like,
my dad, when Windows 95 first came out, my dad got a computer. We didn't have the money, but that didn't stop him. And I loved it. It was so much fun, like playing Minesweeper and Jezball, using like really old Microsoft Word, sitting for hours and watching a 3D maze with all the textures turned into like the psychedelic seizure-inducing like rainbow. That's how isolated I was as a child. I would sit and eat plain tortilla chips and watch the 3D maze screensaver. That's how alone I was as a child. SCP is dope. I'm obsessed with SCPs. Like I every once in a while I'll go back and I'll watch like Markiplier's old 2014 videos of him playing SCP Containment Breach. Like that game, like I want to become a millionaire and I'll just pay the game devs to keep updating that game and adding more SCPs. Why am I dying? What's happening? I know the new game though, it sounds really cool. The like server game where you're either an SCP or you're like a prisoner or like a government official or something. I have to go soon because my nose is just running like crazy and I don't know why. Those eyelashes are not that long. Let me finish my eyelashes here at least. And then I'll probably head out here. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Everyone has a boner for that mobile SCP. Well, at least furries do. I know everybody loves Peanut, the one that is based on the like hideous Japanese sculpture. My smudgy butt. I love my smudgy butt. Everybody calls him Peanut. And I like the what's his name? Shy Guy is it's so weird because like I know all these SCPs from just obsessively reading about them. And then people who have never been into SCPs are now like playing the game on servers and they have all these like weird new nicknames and I'm like, who what are you talking about? But the one that like wigs out if you look at him, that one, oh my god, he's freaking terrifying. He's also me when you see me without makeup on. That's what I do. I find you and I scream and I kill you. Hold on, that eyelash is not right. There, that's perfect almost. I always do things like this. I do things like, this is what I consider to be more sketchy, where I just do like really light gray and then later I will go back and I will like make the outline black. And I will also go through and add in colors. And I'll find like 2 or 3 different like shades of each color to also be doing like shading and highlights as well. So I'll probably do that later and I'll post this little like self-portrait on Twitter at some point. So follow me on there if you want to see that eventually. I'm dying. Why am I so why am I all nose runny? What happened? It's like Nemi brought a bunch of dust particles in here when she like came by. Caesar Milan is an SCP, but he has a TV show now, so they can't contain him. Yes. Yes. You're pretty sure 4chan is responsible for SCP's existence. Okay, that's interesting. Because like my first guess would be Something Awful, the Something Awful forums, but no. Bowsette is the best SCP. She's one of the better ones, that's for sure. 4chan was, yeah. Alright. That's all we did. That's all I accomplished. Well, I mean, that's more than I would have accomplished playing on my phone upstairs eating popcorn, so it's something. Look at me. I look so sad and chubby. I am a good drawer. I don't like that my hair is flat like that. Like, I would make it more rounded. Like, I like my circles to be almost like square. More like that. Like, I would like the back of her head to be like bigger and not like like for it to sort of like fall off like that. But if you look at my head, the back of my head literally does fall off. Like my skull is not round in the back. Like I don't have enough brain matter like a normal person, so my skull doesn't need to actually like come out in the back. So even though I don't like how that looks on her, it's pretty realistic. I'm dying. Why am I so congested? This is disgusting. Chibi-Mort is ironically really good. Thanks. Use the rotation tool to turn that frown upside down. No. No, 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 no. I will not turn the frown upside down. I'm trying to be realistic. Don't you understand? If I didn't draw myself frowning, you wouldn't even be able to tell that this was me. I don't know how I'm gonna replicate the pattern on this weird like fuzzy sweater thing I got from a thrift like website though. That'll be, you know what? No, I know exactly how I'll do it. Like, have you guys, we'll see if yeah, they still have it. Like when you guys played with paint as kids, did you ever play with this effect as a kid? 'Cause like I can easily do this to like replicate the like the way my like sweater thing looks. I'll just like do this all over it and it'll look perfect. 'Cause I was just puzzling out like how the heck am I gonna do that? But it won't be that hard. I'll just do that all over the sweater later. Doop-a-doop boop boop. I like my circle square. You hush now. I'm a smart lady and I say smart things. Trippy Poop can help you. Yeah. Okay, 4chan started SCP. That's interesting. I love SCPs. I might actually that's like I've said this before. But like when I'm going to bed, I like one of the best things that helps me is reading. Like I lay in bed and I just read till I fall asleep. And like my favorite things to read about usually are like realistic things, like scientific things. And by that I mean I love reading about deep sea life, like really creepy deep sea creatures like tube worms that live around like thermal vents. Anglerfish, gulper eels, goblin sharks, things like that. I love like terrifying, like demonic deep sea life. I'll like read about things like that. I'll just read for hours about deep sea life or however long it takes before I fall asleep. Another thing I love to read about is just like space and black holes and like different stars and the contents of them and like what kind of material rains down on different planets during the storms and like how long the days are and things like that. I love reading about deep sea life and I love reading about space. But yeah, like for the longest time I stopped because it scared me, but it's still fun. I would just read page after page after page of SCPs, you know? Because if you go to like the SCP, like the Wikipedia type page, that's supposed to be like their files on all the different SCPs in their system and like the proper protocol to keep them contained. You can just read about them for hours. Like there's so many and they're so spooky and so cool. It's so much fun. Oh my god, I love it. I'm glad that came up, you guys. Going to making comments or manga. Pardon me. Weaponized autism can do anything. That's a valid argument. Penis. I mean that's not a penis. Don't ban me, YouTube. Here. I can fix this, you guys. Just hold on. Never fear. Not a penis. Space. Exclamation points. There. Seems legit. I know. Everybody tells me I should like write a comic or manga or something. Uh, Filaro, is that how you say it? I apologize if I mispronounced that. It's a deep sea bioluminescent slug turned streamlined fish-like swimmer. That shit is awesome. I once photoshopped Bill Gates and turned him into Stephen Hawking in MS Paint. It was fantastic. All I did was find a picture of Bill sitting, rotated his head 90 degrees and put a Mac in his lap. Jesus, dude. MS Paint is so capable. Yeah, or something. I don't like the new MS Paint because I don't know how to deal with these new brushes. They're all weird. I need to just play with them more, but I thought they were doing away with MS Paint. Or did they just mean in like new whatever Windows comes next? See, like these brushes are weird, and like most of them, like they stop working after a while. Like the paint ones, like to be realistic, they stop, or like the marker will stop. I'll show you. Cool, make me a liar. Thanks, Paint. Thanks a lot. Some of them stop after a while. I'm gonna scream if they like updated it and none of them stop. I swear on my life, some of the brushes like stop working after a while. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. They don't stop working anymore. This is dumb. I'm angry. MS Paint turned me into a liar. Whatever. 4chan didn't start shit. You think they have the brains to think of that? I don't know. I think when enough ridiculous people like start brainstorming, they can actually come up with some pretty interesting things. On their own, they probably couldn't, but it's a flower. It's not a penis, YouTube. You watch yourself, sir. That is not true. That you're fibbing and you're wrong. It's not a penis. Not a penis. Okay. As riveting as this has been, if you guys don't mind, I am probably going to head out here. If you have any final thoughts, please let me know. Please let me know. That's good. That's good. That's how that's pronounced, Michelle. I'm sorry. I don't know. Like, why did my nose just decide to, like, stage a coup right now? Like, why? Nose. Why? Why are you doing this? This is wrong. This is horrible. I don't know if any of you guys happened to... Some of you did, but, like, I started a stream. Good night. Vince McHammond would love that flower. Yeah. If you guys want, you can check out my stream from the other night. I was talking about my antidepressants, and I am slowly weaning myself off of them again. So if you're looking for more of my content, you can watch that. I talk about it a little bit there, and I'm gonna work on some videos like pertaining to that soon too, so be on the lookout for that if you want to. Have a good night. You too. The human nose was a mistake. Yes. What flower has a penis growing out of the top? None of them. This one, and I'm gonna draw right now. It's a beautiful flower. Look, see, if I just draw the flower bad enough, it just looks like I can't draw. It doesn't look like a penis. But maybe it is. You don't know. How would you know? Oh, yeah. Look. It's a flower. It's part of a flower. See? It's a... What am I doing with my life? It's a flower. See? I promise. Yeah, exactly. Flowers are basically enshrined plant genitalia, so it makes sense. Dude, most flowers look like genitals, okay? I know that sounds silly about it. It's not silly, it's true. If you look at flowers, if you look at flowers, they look like phallic. Like, they look like their genitals, and it's because they are. They release the pollen, and they get the pollen, and then they make babies. So it's like, are you ever like at a grocery store where they've got flowers out front, or at a greenhouse, and you just walk by a flower and you're like, oh my God, dude, like, put that away. Like, does a flower ever look like shockingly obscene to you? Because yes, for me, yes. That penis flower is unrealistic and it makes me self-conscious. Well, that's not my problem. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be setting unrealistic expectations. I apologize. Everything is a penis if you're adventurous enough. Yes. I like that. I'm going to say that the highlights of tonight's conversation we had were everything is a penis if you're adventurous enough, and Caesar Milan is an SCP, but he has a TV show now, so they can't contain him. Those are like my favorite things ever. Roses and tulip, I don't mind. Just keep your baloney away from my flowers. Yes, I agree. Okay, no. In all honesty, like, for realsies, I am gonna... It didn't make shape. Shapes. I'm not drunk, I promise. Yeah, I am gonna probably head out here. So, I am forever, like, blown away by the fact that you guys are patient enough to sit here and tolerate my nonsense. Because, my God, I'm a strange little person. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I love you guys very, very much. Yes, it is a silver medal for you. And I'm gonna write your name, and I'm not gonna spell it wrong like an idiot. I promise. But if you guys want to check out any of my other content, of course, I will have it linked. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, freaking whatever. I have those things, and they are linked. And I have a minds.com account, a gab.ai account, all those things. So if you do want to follow me in any of those places, go right ahead if you want to network with me. I try to post when I put out a new video on those sites. Okay. Alrighty, I'll watch it, Ryder. And thank you for hanging out. How do I write your name? Okay, I can do this. Anyway, that's all I can think of. That's my normal spiel. Please like my videos if you do indeed like them. Subscribe if you have not already, and it means the world to me if you guys share my content with your friends in the world. But only if you want to. I hate like being condescending and like begging people for attention. So if you guys want to support me, that would mean the world to me. And if not, more power to you. Do what makes you happy. So, yep, I think that's about it then. Shyamalan twist. You're currently in the same room. Scandal. Oh, don't do the things that the flowers do with their, you know, those things. Yes, I think that's about it. So, thank you guys again. I hope you're having a wonderful evening or day or whatever time it is where you're at. And if today has been cruddy, resolve to make tomorrow better. My nose is running and I feel like a disgusting, snotty monster. That's about it. So, okay. Everybody be good and have a good day today or tomorrow if today has been a wash. And I will see you again soon.